Hello ladies, blokes and non-binary folks, how's it all going? Been a bit of a weird one around here. Late last year everything was kind of going a little bit horrendously on this channel, as I was either struggling to find the time to make videos or everything I did was going horribly wrong. I scripted and recorded a whole video on the throttlebots before accidentally deleting the entire recording before I got around to editing it. In its place I did a simple unscripted video just showing off the figures and started off the whole collecting goals series. Something I soon had a second entry of as I completed Studio Series Devastator. Now I imagine some of you would have seen that video, but here's a not so secret. That wasn't attempt number 1, and it was meant to have been edited back in November. The first run at recording that video was entirely unscripted, as I figured that would be the vibe for the collecting goals videos, but it kind of ended up being a whole meandering mess. Basically unwatchable, and it had me struggling to combine the Devastator for the first time over the course of about 90 minutes. Scrapped that, scripted it and made it the 10th review and recorded that back in November. Never got around to editing it though because I was too neck deep in projects on my main YouTube channel, Mellow Gaming. To add to that, I wasn't feeling the drive to delve into a fairly long, dry video talking about the movie bots. It was around this time though that I did a silly thing. I started a second Twitter account, one where I took a tiny plastic hat from my good friend Wild Will here and stick it on various figures to see who it would fit on. A few days went by and it was pure tumbleweeds, and then I tweeted a pic of Titan's Return Repugnus at that Gav Spence of TRDQ, and it kind of blew up. Since then I've worked my way through my entire collection and have continued to gain followers at a surprising pace. Made me feel pretty good, and for the first time I felt like I was part of the community, which I've never really had before. It reignited my drive to talk about bots again, and I got that Devastator review finished and then started thinking about what I should do next. The Wild Will's Hat Twitter account is all about fun, silly times and good Transformer vibes, so why not cover a figure that fits in with all that I got last year? Folks, this here is Cybertron Downshift, a nice chunky green lad from a period of Transformers where I just kind of stopped collecting entirely. I've mentioned before that as RID 2001 and the Unicron trilogy was going on, I was kind of moving into alternators and saw masterpieces as the future of collecting. The only mainline figures I got in the whole of the Unicron trilogy was Tidal Wave and Unicron himself. I hadn't enjoyed the transformations and kibble heavy styles of RID, and I guess I just wanted the big lads and collector aimed bots. Nothing wrong with that, but I do attribute that as why I stopped enjoying the toys. I picked things back up with Siege, and along with keeping up with the current toys, I decided I'd go back and collect up a few that I'd missed over the years. One I had to get after seeing people singing its praises was Downshift here. He's a perfect representation of everything that is Transformers on every level. First, we've got a classic robot which is also a car design. This is how Transformers should look to me. I want to be able to take one look at a figure and figure out what he turns into. And there's no mistaking that this lad turns into a muscle car. Just look at that hood chest there. You might say it's a little too big, but is it really any bigger than Jazz's boob bonnet? Okay, maybe a little. On top of that, his rear wheels are just out here spinning about. His shoulders are doors, which I'm sure has some sort of play on words type pun that you could associate with it, but I can't think of one. Granted, he does have a pretty big case of roof cape, but it doesn't get in the way or anything. Hinges backwards and everything. Is it graceful? No, but neither are you, so leave him alone. Plus, how graceful and tidy should a bot that turns into a muscle car be, really? He should be a stocky block of a thing, and that's exactly what Downshift is. Quite a far cry from the original inspiration of Wheeljack, who I don't have. I know he looks nothing like him, but he did the year before. See, in Transformers Energon he was quite clearly based on Wheeljack's design right down to the decals. When the Cybertron series came about, the cast got new forms, some of which were wildly different from their previous looks, and Downshift ended up becoming the guy you see here. There's still a little bit of the Wheeljack DNA in there if you look at the head sculpt, plus I love how his ears sort of pop up. That's a fun little touch. First up, some big old missiles, which can go in his hands or they can go in the correct location on his shoulders here. Missiles fire with a decent amount of force too. Remember missiles? Remember fun? But wait, there's more. As a Cybertron era figure, Downshift is hiding a Cyberplanet key based gimmick in the form of a hidden weapon. You access it by shoving the Cyberplanet key into a little slot in his back and giving it a little push to reveal this little grabby arm with a laser in the middle. Shoots out pretty fast too, although all this yellow plastic does make me wish it had some sort of built-in lighting, or at least some sort of light piping. Can't have everything though. I do recommend finding the complete one if you do go looking for him though, because most of the ones I found on eBay were missing the missiles or the key. Thankfully, most of the ones I saw at the time were in really good condition though. He's a pretty tough figure and I feel like he could easily survive at least a few chuck-ins across a room. Something all good toys should be able to survive really. Articulation's pretty decent for the time, not the flashiest, but he's got enough range. The legs are ball jointed at the hip and can swivel out at the knees, although the legs are so chunky they kind of clash into each other a little bit. Plus the lack of an ankle tilt hinders them from being splayed out a little bit to give them more room. Hardly the end of the world though. Arms can twist and raise and bend at the elbow. There's also the slightest bit of backward movement, but you're not going to get far. The head does technically turn, but it's impeded by the car hood. Gotta say though, if Hasbro took a stab at this guy in the Legacy range and just basically kept him the same but with a little more articulation, he'd shine. Now, shall we transform this thing? Switching downshift to car mode is such a doddle, pure classic Transformers stuff, all of a few steps and takes about 30 seconds, if that. You fold the arms up, put away the head by tilting the roof over, swing the legs back and pop them into place, then you just close the doors. It's one of them transformations you can just do idly, really not far off some of the G1 bots either, and a stark contrast to the unintuitive complexities of stuff like RID Sideburn. I do enjoy a complex transformation, but there's part of me that's always thinking, what'll happen if I pick up this figure a few years down the line and I can't remember how to change it? Had that issue with a few of the RID and Beast Wars Neo figures I picked up out of storage last year. I can guarantee I'll not only never be able to forget how to do Downshift's transformation, but I'll be able to remember it when my memory's fading like it's just pure instinct. The result is a spot-on, lovely muscle car that doesn't replicate any particular real-world inspiration, but certainly feels like it does. I do dig the green and black colour scheme, which for some reason has me thinking of some semi-posh chocolates. I love the design of this so much that I recreated it in Forza Horizon 5. You can download it if you like. Love the yellow windows on it. It reminds me of those late G1 toys that had the pink and blue tinted windows that just look cooler than just having a plain clear window. There's even a sort of interior in there which you can't access because it sits on top of the whole Cyberplanet key mechanism, which still works in car mode by the way. And if you don't want the key hanging off the back, the little flap it goes into just hides away, just like that. You can also attach the missiles in car mode if you fancy making him look like some sort of death machine. Should probably mention that there's mini-con ports on there too. They don't do anything, but they're there if you need somewhere to store some extra mini-cons. So that's Cybertron Downshift, a figure I enjoy immensely. I'm not even kidding when I say that this figure stayed on my desk for months when I got hold of it first time. Most figures end up being shimmied off to display spaces after a few days when I get them, but this guy ended up staying on there for ages. It's just a lot of fun to mess around with. Had a similar reaction to Kingdom Core Class Soundwave when I got him. I just love a bot that you can idly fiddle with while watching the TV or something. Downshift has got me interested in collecting up a few more Unicron Trilogy toys, especially if they have a similar good feel to them like this guy has. Let me know in the comments which ones I should keep an eye out for. I believe YouTube likes it when I ask for engagement and stuff. If you want to get one for yourself, I have noticed that prices have been creeping up a little bit for complete ones. I got this guy for about 20 quid midway through last year, but now it's looking more about in the £30 to £40 range. Incomplete ones are still going for a tenner though. He was redecoed as Big Daddy a few years later, but prices for that are pretty similar there. Here's another colour choice for you though if green isn't your thing. So, cheers for watching, do a subscribe and whatnot, you know where the buttons are. Check out Wild Will's hat on Twitter if you haven't come across it yet, and tell me exactly what ludicrously expensive figures I should be putting his hat on next. See you next time folks.